Everyone loves the 1% per month payment plan. It is the most marketed thing in Dubai real estate right now. 1% a month, no big upfront payment, own a piece of Dubai, and almost nobody understands what they're actually paying for. So I'm going to show you with real numbers on a real 1.5 million dirham apartment exactly where the 1% plan costs you. Not in the fees, not in the price itself, and then the moment it bites. The day the building completes and the bank values it. Watch this before you sign anything. My name is Mosen Imran. I'm the owner of Kun Real Estate. I've done over 600 million in transactions across Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and I've structured deals on every payment plan you can name. 60/40, post handover, 1%. I've also sat across from buyers a year later when the valuation came in and the maths stopped working. I'm not here to tell you the 1% plan is a scam. It isn't. I'm here to make sure you understand the bill before you take it on. Let's be precise about what the 1% plan is, because the name is doing a lot of the lying. First, it's never actually 1% from day one. There's a down payment first, usually 10 to 20%. On a 1.5 million dirham apartment, that's 300,000 before the 1% a month starts. Second, when a developer offers you 1% a month for 5, 7, 8 years, what they're actually doing, they're lending you the money. They're handing you the apartment on a schedule that stretches years past completion and not charging visible interest. No bank does that. No business does that. So they don't do it for free either. The cost of lending you that money, the interest they're not charging you on paper, gets built straight into the price of the unit. You don't see it. There's no line item. But on these long, soft plans in Dubai right now, that the premium runs 30 to 40% over the same unit that would have costed on a standard payment plan or in cash. So the 1% plan apartment and the cash apartment are the same apartment. You're paying 30 to 40% more for the privilege of spreading the payments. That's not a discount. That's the most expensive way to buy the same unit. So a unit genuinely worth 1.5 million dirhams on the open market on a 1% payment plan, you might be paying 1.95 to 2.1 million for it. And that's the 30-40% premium baked in it. Now layer on what you pay regardless of plan. DLD fees, 4% of the price on 1.5 million is 60,000 to register the Ukud, and you can settle the DLD. However, the same unit on 1.9 million to 2.1 million, you're paying higher DLD. I agree you're saving on the 2% commission, the developer covers it, but there's a difference. And the difference on the entry price of 1.5 to 1.9 million is not factored in by every buyer. A lot of the brokers in Dubai just push this 1% plan and not understand the real pricing of it. The premium baked into the price is part that they never see until completion. What happens when the building is completed and when there is a buyer, when there is a bank that comes to value it, this is where it changes. So here's where most 1% buyers actually lose money. The building completes, you've been paying 1% per month till now, and you want to sell it or you want to mortgage it to settle the balance, as most people do. So the bank sends in a valuer. And here's the thing about the valuer. They do not care about what you've paid. They don't look at your contract. They look at the community, what comparable units in that building and in that neighborhood are actually selling for. The quality of the building, obviously, and the amenities of that specific building, the location. They put a number on it based on the market, not the inflated price you agreed to 2 years ago. If you've paid 2 million on a 1% plan for a unit and the market values at 1.5 million dirhams, the bank will value at 1.5 million dirhams. They'll lend you a percentage of 1.5 million, not at your 2 million price. So the gap between what you owe the developer and what the bank will finance, you will have to cover it in cash. At completions, exactly when most buyers have the least liquidity left. That's the moment the premium comes due, not when you sign, when you complete. And by then, it's far too late to walk away. The community sets the value, not your developer, not your contract. Point number 2, when a buyer comes in to buy, they don't really care about what you've paid. Whether it's 1.5 or 2 million, they will pay what the market wants to pay for that specific unit. And I've seen so many people lose money here is because they bought it at the launch thinking that the 1% plan is going to help them get an entry into the buy and save money and buy a property. But in the end, it never really happens. What happens is, let's say you bought it for 2 million, you end up selling for 1.6, 1.7 million. And then all of a sudden you start thinking that Dubai real estate is a bubble and this is a bad place to invest. But the reality is you did not do your research, or whoever sold it to you did not do their research, because a developer does charge you over and above what the bank would have charged you in terms of interest. It would be cheaper for you to get a unit in the ready market on mortgage than going to a developer that is inflating their prices and adding these bank premiums in your payment plan. Because in the end, the developer is using the money from the bank. They're borrowing the same money from the bank, let's say at 5-6%, and they're charging you 10-12% on the exact same loan. So it is better for you to go to the bank. So am I saying never take the 1% plan? No, that would be lazy. There are cases where it works. And if you genuinely cannot deploy the capital upfront and the alternative is not buying at all, then you're paying a premium for access. And that can be fair if the asset appreciates enough to cover it. Now, if the developer is top tier, for example, Emaar, for instance, and the community has a strong appreciation track record, and the market value can catch up to or exceed your premium over the hold period, then the gap closes on its own. And if you're holding long term and never intend to refinance through a bank valuation, the trap never triggers. The 1% plan is a financing product. The mistake isn't taking it. The mistake is taking it without knowing it, without knowing the finance cost of it. So before you sign a 1% plan, 3 things. 1, find out the cash or standard plan price for the same unit or similar unit in the same community. If the developer won't give you a straight comparison or your broker doesn't, then there's something wrong. The gap is your real premium. 2, model the completion valuation. Look at what the units in the community are selling for at completion. This will show you the benchmark of your property. 3, your liquidity at completion, not just at signing. If a valuation gap appears, can you cover it in cash? If no, the 1% plan is a risk, not a convenience. So the 1% isn't a deal and it isn't a scam. It's a loan with the interest hidden inside the price. Some people should take it, most take it without understanding it. The community sets the value of your home, the buyer sets the price of your apartment. The day the bank reminds you of it is the day the premium comes due. So DM me plan and I'll tell you exactly how much your unit is, or the unit that you're looking at should be valued based on real facts and figures, based on real data. If you haven't followed me, follow me along and I will make sure to keep delivering quality over hype.